Have you ever been to like one of those family get-togethers where like you can just feel this like underlying tension?
Yeah.
Like everyone's pretending everything's fine, but there's this like elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about.
Right.
Well, that's All My Sons, basically.
Yes.
Arthur Miller's All My Sons, but the elephant is a missing son, and the tension,
Oh, yeah.
it explodes by Act 3.
And the fallout from that is really what makes this play.
Oh, totally.
Miller uses it to explore some really profound things about family, about guilt, about responsibility.
Yes.
About the dark side of the American dream.
Exactly. And so to unpack all of that, we are diving into your source material today.
Okay.
You've got some really awesome academic analyses focusing on each act, plus some background on Arthur Miller's signature style.
Okay.
So we are going to go deep on the symbolism, character dynamics, the works.
Love it.
By the time we're done, you will be like dropping knowledge bombs in any All My Sons discussion.
Let's do it.
Are you ready to go?
I am so ready. Let's talk All My Sons.
Okay.
Act 1. Miller sets the stage masterfully.
Okay.
It's 1947. It's post-World War II.
Okay.
We're in this seemingly idyllic backyard of the Keller family home.
Okay.
Birds are chirping. You know, you've got that sense of, like, everything should be okay.
Right.
But there's this lingering sense of unease.
Right, because Larry, the son, is still officially missing in action from the war, but each family member is dealing with that absence in their own way, which is where things start to get very interesting.
And how they're dealing with it is what's so fascinating.
Right.
So you've got Joe Keller.
Yes.
The patriarch, self-made businessman. He loves his family fiercely.
Right.
But he's also got this knack for avoiding tough conversations.
Yeah.
And maybe a few too many secrets.
Yeah, a few too many secrets about his wartime business dealings, perhaps. Right? And then there's Kate, his wife.
Kate.
She is clinging to the belief that Larry's alive.
Yes.
Even though it's been years.
Years.
You almost feel bad for her, like it's heartbreaking.
It is.
But that denial becomes this, like, driving force in the play.
Oh, absolutely.
Wouldn't you say?
It's fascinating how Miller even foreshadows that.
Okay.
Remember Kate's obsession with Larry's horoscope?
Right.
How she keeps consulting it even though everyone else has accepted that he's gone?
Right.
And that dream that she has about the memorial tree snapping into...
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
Yes, these aren't just like random details that Miller's throwing in there.
Okay, see, this is what I love about Arthur Miller. He's dropping these symbols. He's dropping these little clues about the characters and the themes right from the start.
They're so significant, the broken tree.
Right.
He's showing us, look how fragile this facade of happiness can be.
Yes.
When it's built on lies.
Right.
And Kate's denial, she's desperately trying to hold those broken pieces together.
Yes.
It's really tragic. And then we meet Chris, the other son back from the war.
Chris. Oh, Chris.
Talk about a pressure cooker.
I know, right?
He's carrying guilt. He's trying to rebuild his life, and he wants to marry Han.
Oh, boy.
Larry's former fiance.
Yeah, that's not going to go well.
Which, you know, ruffles some feathers.
Just a few.
A few feathers, particularly Kate's.
Of course.
Right? It's like throwing gasoline on a smoldering fire.
Exactly.
And that's where Act 2 picks up that arrival of Anne.
Right.
And her brother George.
Yes.
They are the catalyst that blows everything wide open.
George coming back into the picture.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
And coming back into their lives.
Yeah.
You know, it's this disruption.
It's like, whoa.
To this carefully crafted world that they've built for themselves.
Right.
And George, he's like this walking reminder of the war's true cost.
Right.
A cost that Joe Keller has managed to avoid facing.
Yes, because George's dad was the one who went to prison.
Exactly.
For those faulty airplane parts. The ones that Joe manufactured but blamed on his partner.
Precisely.
Right.
And George is carrying the weight of that injustice.
Oh.
He becomes this moral compass.
Yeah.
You know, pushing for the truth.
Right.
While the Kellers are trying desperately to maintain their version of events.
Right.
It creates this incredible tension.
That dinner scene, I'm telling you, like, Act 2, when they're all having dinner.
Oh, my God.
I read it and I'm like, I need to take a deep breath.
Yes.
It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. You know it's coming.
Totally.
But you can't look away.
And Miller throws in another layer here with Sue Bayless.
Right. Sue Neighbor.
The neighbor.
Right.
And she represents that more cynical side of the American dream.
Yes.
Focused on comfort and success, even if it means ignoring some uncomfortable truths.
She's all like, let's just enjoy this barbecue and not rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat.
But that's what makes Chris's struggle so compelling.
Yes.
Right? He is grappling with those bigger questions.
Yes, he is.
Of right and wrong.
The weight of the world is on his shoulders.
Right. Imagine being Chris, returning from war, hoping for a better world, only to find out that his own father embodies like the very corruption he fought against.
That conflict between idealism and reality, that's pure Miller.
Yes.
But what really ratchets up the tension in Act 2 is that seemingly throwaway line from Kate.
Yes.
Remember when she insists that Joe hasn't been sick in 15 years?
Oh.
Like out of nowhere.
The alibi.
To get him out of going to prison.
To get out of prison.
For those faulty parts.
Chills.
Right?
Literal chills.
It's like Miller's whispering to the audience. Oh, did you catch that?
Yeah.
Buckle up, because things are about to get real.
Yes.
It's masterful.
Oh my gosh.
That single line.
Yes.
It shatters this illusion of normalcy that they've so carefully constructed.
Yes.
It exposes the lies, the guilt.
Right.
And it sets the stage for these devastating consequences that unfold in Act 3.
And Act 3 is where the focus really shifts, isn't it?
Yes.
It's less about uncovering the past.
Right. And more about, like, dealing with the fallout.
Yes. Dealing with the ramifications.
Of what has happened.
Of the choices that have been made. Chris, in particular, he goes through this, like, brutal transformation.
Brutal.
He starts out so idealistic, but by the end...
The weight of his father's actions just crushes him.
Right.
Think about it. Chris went to war.
Yeah.
Fought for his country for what he believed was right.
Right.
And now he discovers that his own father betrayed that very ideal.
Right.
Profited from it, and worse, let innocent people take the blame.
It's awful.
That's devastating.
And you can't talk about Act 3 without mentioning Larry's letter.
Larry's letter.
Even though he's gone, he never physically appears on stage. That letter becomes the moral compass of this.
It does. It's like a ghost.
Yes.
Haunting the entire play.
Yes.
Finally given a voice.
Right.
And what that voice tells Anne, what it reveals about Larry's own guilt.
Right.
And his inability to live with what his father had done. That's what pushes everything over the edge.
It forces everyone to confront the truth.
Yes.
Even Joe.
Even Joe.
Speaking of Joe.
Yeah.
Talk about an ending that leaves you thinking for days.
Oh my gosh.
Does he commit suicide because he's a coward?
Right.
Or because he finally accepts the weight of his guilt?
It's the question, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't make it easy.
He doesn't. And that's the brilliance of it.
Right.
He gives us all the pieces.
Right.
He lets us see the complexities of Joe's choice.
Right.
Without offering this neat little bow to tie it all up.
Right.
He trusts us, the audience.
Yes.
To wrestle with those uncomfortable questions.
And we're gonna wrestle with them some more right after this quick break.
Absolutely.
And we're back.
All right.
And that's classic Miller, right?
Yes.
Like, he doesn't shy away from the hard stuff at all.
No, he is not.
He, like, shoves those big, messy questions.
Right in your face.
Right in your face and makes you grapple with them.
It makes you think he doesn't preach. He provokes.
Yes, and one of the things that makes All My Sons so resonant even today is that it's not just a family drama.
That's not.
It's about these ripple effects of our choices.
Absolutely.
Like how they reach far beyond our own little world.
Way beyond.
You can't ignore the backdrop of the war.
Right.
Those pilots that died because of Joe's faulty parts.
Right.
Like, those sons become this haunting presence.
They do.
This reminder of the human cost of Joe's actions.
The human cost, yes.
Even if he tries to rationalize it as, like...
Oh, it's just business.
It's just business.
Right.
It challenges that whole notion of the American dream, doesn't it?
It really does.
Like, Joe achieved material success, but at what cost?
At what cost, exactly?
Miller forces us to ask.
He does.
Is there a point where the ends no longer justify the means?
Yes.
Where does ambition cross the line into something darker?
It's like that question is even more relevant now.
Oh, totally.
Right, with everything going on in the world.
With everything.
These pressures to succeed. To prioritize profit over people.
Right.
It makes you really think about
it does.
What choices we would make in those situations.
100%. And that's what makes this play so timeless.
Yes.
It's not just about 1947.
It's about us.
It's about those fundamental human dilemmas.
Yes.
The guilt, the responsibility.
The struggle.
The struggle to do what's right when it costs you something.
When it's hard.
When it's really hard. And those aren't easy things to talk about.
They're not, no.
But Miller gives us this, like, incredible framework.
He does.
To explore them through these characters. We've talked a lot about Joe, but Kate, man.
Kate's fascinating.
She's a fascinating character.
He is.
Like that fierce loyalty to her family.
Right.
But also that like blindness.
Yes.
To the truth.
That almost willful blindness.
It's so interesting.
Her tragedy is that she chooses to live in this world.
Right.
Where her son is still alive.
Yes.
Even when it becomes painfully obvious that that's not reality.
Right. And that denial, it's not just about Larry.
Right.
It's about protecting herself. It's about protecting Joe.
It's about protecting this idea.
And ultimately maintaining this illusion.
Yes.
Of their perfect family.
Of this perfect family that never truly existed.
Which makes Chris's journey all the more heartbreaking.
It does.
He's the one who's been out in the world.
Right. He's seen the reality.
He's seen the harsh realities.
He has.
And he comes back hoping for something better.
Hoping for more.
Hoping for more, only to find his own family.
Right. Caught in this web.
Caught in this web of lies.
Of deceit.
It's a lot.
It is. And that's where Miller really gets you.
Right.
You know, each character is grappling with these impossible choices.
Right.
Kate's loyalty, Chris's shattered ideals.
Right.
And Miller makes us confront that there's no easy good guy or bad guy here.
No.
Just flawed human beings.
Yes.
Trying to navigate
these impossible circumstances.
Right. And sometimes failing spectacularly.
Oh, yeah. And it's a lot to process, but that's what makes it stick with you.
It does.
You know, and I think that's why the title is so brilliant.
All My Sons.
All My Sons. It shifts throughout the play. It takes on all these different meanings.
At first, it's about Larry and Chris.
Right.
Joe's biological sons.
Right.
But by the end, it's about those pilots.
Yes.
It's about the community.
It's about the whole country.
It's even about the country grappling with the consequences of Joe's actions.
Right.
It becomes this much larger question of who we are responsible for.
Yes.
And the far-reaching impact of our choices.
It's like Miller saying, these are all our sons in a way.
Yes.
What kind of world are we leaving for them?
Right.
What are we willing to tolerate?
What are we willing to turn a blind eye to?
To turn a blind eye to.
In the name of progress or comfort?
Right.
It's a question we all have to grapple with.
We do.
And All My Sons gives us this powerful framework.
It does.
For that conversation, it reminds us that silence, that inaction, can be just as damaging as the act itself.
Wow. So much to think about. And what's fascinating is that even though Miller wrote this play decades ago, those themes of moral responsibility, the weight of our choices.
It's a timeless.
They
feel more relevant than ever.
You do. It's incredible.
It's the mark of a truly great playwright.
Yes.
Arthur Miller, he wasn't just writing for his time, he was writing for all time.
That's right.
And with All My Sons, he challenges us to confront those uncomfortable truths about ourselves, about our society, and hopefully to make more ethical choices in our own lives.
It's a call to action disguised as a family drama.
It is.
And you know what? We could all use a little bit of that right now.
We could.
This has been incredible. But more importantly, it's given me a lot to chew on.
Me too. And that's what Miller would have wanted.
Right.
He wanted his plays to spark dialogue. To challenge audiences to stay with them long after the curtain fell.
Yes. And to everyone listening, think about All My Sons.
Think about it.
But more importantly, think about your own sons.
Your own responsibility.
Your own responsibilities. What kind of world do you want to create?
Yes. What choices will you make?
What choices will you make? Keep those questions close.
Keep diving deep.
And keep diving deep.